Welcome to the Poker Cannonball Run.
We started on 31st Street, started the Red Ball Garage, finished at the Portofino Hotel. Each state along the way, we got to cash in a poker tournament. Once you cash, you can move on to the next state. If there's a diagonal state situation like Utah, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, you're not allowed to go diagonal, okay? Part of your body would go into another state as you're crossing that border, and then you'd have to cash in that state, and it just wouldn't work. So you got to go along a true border, cross it to go from state to state. Take as many states as you want. Go as fast or as slow as you can. You can probably do it in 9 states to get from New York to California. No sneaking into New Jersey on your way to Syracuse. And that's it. I'm gonna keep track of this along the way. Invite you along on the ride. We'll talk to some friends as we make this journey, and we'll see how we do. We are still stuck in New York State. Get us out. Here's the journey. Before we get started, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the video. And successfully made a waffle today. All right, the original plan was to get gas, run to the bathroom, and race over to River Schenectady. There's no little thingy to auto pump the gas. It's a little cold here too. So we're just gonna pump gas and hold it until we get to Rivers. I have never met a tournament I couldn't be late for. The fact that you don't have to arrive on time for a tournament, you've got this buffer time, definitely throws me off. GPS says 5:20 arrival, the tournament 5:15. The tournament today is a little wacky. It's a $25 tournament. It's a massive rebuy tournament. There's all sorts of crazy rules. That's sort of fun. You're trying to diagnose at River Schenectady how to manage all these different rules. And then there's a $50 add-on. The $50 add-on's for like 40,000 chips, so you got to do the add-on. So who knows? We might as well just play along with the chaos. So one thing that I'm thinking, both the Revival tournament where we bubbled, and then last night at Turning Stone where we somewhat bubbled, both times came after I was table changed. I feel like table change happens and somehow in my head I'm like, I gotta prove it to the table, or there's some sort of chaos and I don't know what's going on, and I became more aggressive or less sit it out till this bubble survives or we have truly a premium hand. And I remember way back when I used to have a rule, which is after every table change, sit out one orbit, you know, unless you get like kings or aces, and just chill and just see what happens. And I think that that may be something we need to add to our game again. Trying to learn from all this. I definitely feel recharged since taking that week off in Vegas. Did not go back to New York City. Ended up trying to continue to get good rest. So left New York City on Friday, played on Saturday. Now we're playing Sunday in Schenectady. I think if we lose today, we will go back to New York one more time and try and reset the clock for the Monday and Tuesday tournaments. If we don't cash in Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, this weekend before Halloween, ooh, that's gonna be painful. Let's hope that this 5th tournament we can get it done. Sunday, October 27th, River Schenectady, $25 rebuy tournament, $2,000 guarantee. For 25 bucks, you get 2,000 in chips. At the start, you can even rebuy 10,000 more chips if you want. 15-minute levels for the first 8 levels, then 20-minute levels from level 9 on. quick note on how this rebuy tournament works. Just $25 to buy in, but when you sit down at the table, you can rebuy up to another 10,000 in chips. And that's what I did. Obligatory 100, 200, 200. Very early on, I still have my original starting stack of 12,000 in chips. Under the gun plus 2 makes the call. Under the gun plus 2 has 11,000 in chips. Low jack also calls with like 13,000 in chips. Then over to the cutoff. The cutoff, she's been doing quite well. 20,000 in chips. She also calls. Small blind, 9,000 in chips. Small blind completes. I'm in the big blind. I look down at queen 5 off. Well, let's just play along. I make the check. Family style, flippity floppity. Queen 5, 7. Whew, that's a good flop for us. Small blind checks. And now with 2 pair, I like to build a pot early. You know, some people behind me, you could look at a check raise. Maybe that's a way to go. I just like to make sure that I don't have it check all the way through. I like to build the pot. I bet 600. Under the gun plus 2 calls. The low jack folds. The cutoff, she calls. And the small blind folds. Now 3 of us to the turn. The turn, 10 of diamonds. We have a couple callers on the flop. Now, I love to trap when I can. Let's try and trap. If I check and someone bets, I think I can totally check raise here. One bad part about checking, I could end up giving a free card to a straight draw, especially like a gutter. Nevertheless, I love to trap. Let's trap! So, I start us off with a check. The low jack checks. And the cutoff, she bets 700. All right, we got her to bet. Raise it up, 2,000. The low jack now folds, and the cutoff, she calls the 2,000. The river, 9 of diamonds. Ooh, this is a bit of a scary run out. Yikes. The flush gets there, the straight gets there. Time to slow down. I'm going to start it off here with just a check. You know, let's see what happens. Okay, we're still in the rebuy period, and she goes for a bet of 2,500. I'm focused on cashing, but I could rebuy. I think we got to see what she has. We got to look her up. I make the call for 2,500. We flip them over, and she has king of clubs, 10 of hearts for a pair of 10s. Our 2 pair takes out the pair, and we take home a pot. We're back at Rivers Casino, Schenectady. There it is. There's Rivers Casino here in Schenectady. Back at it. All right. The $25 tournament rebuys for 2,000 chips is $10 each during the first 8 levels, which are 15 minutes long. We just bought in for the max at the beginning, so that's $25 to enter, plus $50 in rebuys gives you 12,000 chips. Early on, double up when we were in the big blind, got queen 5, and then the flop had a queen 5 in it, so that was good. And then everyone was just, you know, playing somewhat aggressive. Had a couple 2 pairs, had a couple double ups, had kings once. So we ended the first 2 hours with 45,000. You get an add-on for another 40,000 for $50. The blinds are something like 600, 1,200, 1,200, and we will have 85,000 in chips. But only 26 players in the tournament. Not sure how the payout structure works, but I have a feeling there aren't that many people that cash, so we need to play well. We would have liked to have had all the cards we've had so far in the first 2 hours and the next 2 hours, because obviously everyone could just rebuy. But we ran it up, and we'll go back here after the break and see what we can do. Here at the end of level 8, $50 add-on for 40,000 chips. And now the blind levels are at 20 minutes each. Obligatory 1,000, 2,000, 2,000. No more rebuys at this point. Under the gun plus 2 makes the call for 2,000. I'm in the hijack, and I've got ace king off. Gotta like that. I do not want any part of a multi-way pot here. So I'm going to make my raise a little bit bigger and try and ensure no multi-way situation. Raise it up 10,000. The button, all in for 33,000. Okay. Then back to under the gun plus 2, also all in, 52,000. And now what do I do facing 2 all-ins? I mean, you might say in this scenario, tight play doesn't pay, but I am scared. At least one of my aces may be already gone. Someone's got to have a pair. The 2 of them combined are likely ahead of me. And this just doesn't seem like a gamble I need to take. If I was just up against the button, this is an obvious call, right? I fold my ace-king off. Everybody flips them over. We've got 2 all-ins. The button, queen of clubs, jack of clubs. First to act, the second all-in, king of hearts, queen of spades. Flippity-floppity. Ace, king, 10. Whoa, everybody's hitting everything. I would have had 2 pair, but thank goodness I folded. A flop straight. Whoa. Here's the turn. 4 of clubs, essentially a blank. And now the river. Ace of spades. Whoa, I would have had a full house. Well, couldn't have known that. We were out of it. Take nothing that time. Obligatory 3,000, 6,000, 6,000. Under the gun makes the call for 6,000. I am next to act the hijack in this case, and I look down at pocket aces, raise it up, 16,000. Folds around, and under the gun makes the call for 16,000. Flippity floppity, 10, 9, 2. And now under the gun bets 15,000. I like this flop. Raise it up, 30,000. Under the gun, not slowing down at all. Very quickly, all in, make it a total of 53,000. I've only got 44,000 left, and I have aces. Call. Flip them over. Under the gun flips over. Ace of hearts, queen of spades. We've got pocket aces. This is looking good. The turn, 3 of spades. The river, 8 of hearts. And I pick up the double up. Obligatory 3,000, 6,000, 6,000. Now playing 5-handed, very close to the final table. Under the gun, pocket kings. A great time for that. I'm just going to call and see if I can get some action. I have 130,000 in chips to start. Small blind makes the call. Small blind starting with like 73,000 in chips. Over to the big blind who just checks. Big blind starting with 120,000 in chips. And now, flippity floppity, 7, deuce, deuce. Small blind checks. Big blind checks. I need to do something here. We'll do a min bet. I bet 6,000. This is enough to knock the small out. Small blind folds. Big blind calls a 6,000. All right, the turn, 5 of spades. Big blind now bets 15,000. Okay. I still am sitting pretty here, right? Call 15,000. Now the river, 3 of hearts. Whoa. For a big blind who checked to start this hand, this is really in their range. The big blind checks, and I just don't like it. You know, we're so close to the final table. Let's just play it safe. I just check, flip them over, and the big blind really didn't have anything. Queen of clubs, 10 of clubs, kings dominating that, and I take home the pot. We are the second smallest stack. There's one that's really small, 6 people left, pays 4. We never really established a ruling on chopping. So we're down to 110 and change. The big blinds are now 5, 10, 10. We have to just sit out for a little bit, let that small stack get eaten up. So that's where we are. More to come. obligatory 10,000, 15,000, 15,000. I've got 130,000 in chips, playing four-handed, under 10 big blinds, look down, ace 9 off. That's pretty good. We've got an ace with a 9 kicker. I'm the shortest stack. Very reasonable to go all in at this point. Not really waiting for anyone else to get knocked out. I need to chip up if I'm going to start, making some moves here. I go all in. Folds around to the big blind. Big blind has 250,000 in chips. Big blind takes half a second and makes the call. Flip them over. I show my ace 9. Big blind shows pocket kings. How do we run into pocket kings four-handed? Whoa. Flippity floppity. 8. Ace. King. Oh, we even got the ace. And then that king came in on the flop. The turn, 7 of clubs. The river, 2 of spades. And we are going home in 4th place. But that's a cash. Achievement unlocked. All right, congratulations. What's your name?
Dan.
Dan, congrats on winning the tournament.
Thank you.
And Kyle. Kyle, nice job on second. Kyle knocked me out with pocket kings up against my ace 9. All right, we're gonna do a winner's photo, and thanks everybody for playing. Goodbye, New York State. It took 5 poker tournaments. Took a lot of stress. Goodbye. Where we got Rivers, Casino. We got the job done. I know we were talking about the bubble. The chip leader, who had a ton of chips, he said he had no interest in chopping when I talked to him afterwards. So we don't have to worry about that just yet. This was such a small tournament, just 20-some people. Top 4 paid. I was stressed the whole time. We rocked and rolled during the rebuy period. Spun it up to 40-some thousand. Did the add-on for another 40,000. Had 80-some thousand. There was a spot where I had ace king and I could have tripled up against king queen and ace queen, or no, it was king queen and king jack or something. And these 2 all-ins going into me, and I thought they had to have pairs or something, but that was not the case. But whatever, we held on. We made it to the final table. We watched them drop. We stayed patient. We did go all in against the big stack at one point when king something, and we hit a king on the turn, which worked well. Went all in and got him to fold. So we made it to the top 4. Then 4 paid, so we cashed. So we were jumping for joy on the inside. Got ace 9. First act, went all in, fold, and then the big blind woke up with pocket kings. I don't know how that's possible. With four-handed, he had aces earlier, and he was like super short and finished second as it turned out. But whatever. 5 tournaments in New York, bubbled 2 of them. Bubbled 1 at Rivers. We should have gotten the job undone. We should have cashed here for sure. Then yesterday, that was a little closer, but I probably could have held on to. So, all right, we learned our lesson. We looked up the closest casino in Pennsylvania. It turns out that's Wind Creek, Bethlehem, so we don't have to drive all the way to Philly. We can stop somewhere along the way. So off to Bethlehem. It looks like if we shoot down the thruway, we can sneak over on 84 and just barely miss New Jersey. And then we go down 209 on the Pennsylvania side of the Delaware River and stay just in New York and just in Pennsylvania. Fortunately, I've lived in New York, I've lived in New Jersey, I've lived in Pennsylvania, so I know all these borders pretty well. I know which towns sound Pennsylvanian and which towns sound New Jersey. And we're avoiding Jersey right now because we don't want to add an extra state to the mix and need to run down to AC or something. So we're hopping in the car. Maybe we'll chime in a little from the vehicle as well. Just about to leave River Schenectady. A little kitty cat Be careful, kitty cat, running across the road. All right, here's the vehicle. There's the parking garage. This is good old Rivers Casino here in Schenectady. Goodbye, New York. All right, I was so hungry driving, like going through that tournament. I snuck a burger in at one of the breaks. Just a burger and some lettuce and tomato on the side. No time mid-tournament to document that. Not enough food. So at the Apple Green Rest area, Burger King was closed. Not sure what we would have gotten at Burger King. Instead, we ended up with microwave pizza. 145 miles to New York City. We're going to turn right at Newburgh on 84. Sneak over on 84. Not go into New Jersey. I had to look up on Wikipedia. Does 84 ever go into New Jersey? Nope, it goes straight from New York to Pennsylvania. Then 209 south on the Pennsylvania side. We looked 209 up to. No, it stays always in Pennsylvania. So we're going to eat our pizza and drive to a hotel in Allentown, Bethlehem, near Wind Creek, Bethlehem, for a tournament tomorrow morning. It's 1:30 in the morning. Just getting off the thruway, switching onto 84. I am driving along, listening to the sports podcast, recapping the NFL. Just chilling in the right lane, driving along straight, headed to Bethlehem. Everything's going fine. I slept a ton last night. We're just driving. But when you're driving, it gets a little monotonous, right? You're just driving in the lane. So I'm driving, and all of a sudden, straight in front of me, somebody is looking straight at me. I think it's like a giant deer. Then it was pointed out to me, it wasn't a giant deer. I'm in upstate New York. It was a moose, smack in front of the lane. Why does the moose always look directly at you? You know, I haven't really ever headed straight into a moose before. I feel like in the movies, the moose is always just looking straight at you. Let me tell you, I was headed straight for the moose, straight for this giant moose, smack in the middle of the lane, and he was not moving. So whatever. I go whoosh, whoosh, left, right. I mean, no one was around me, so I make a super quick lane change and hoped that I kept control of the car. And it felt like I almost, moving one lane to the left, didn't maintain control of the car, but somehow switched lanes super fast, kept going straight, and dodged this moose, and I'm alive. Please comment below, have you ever hit a deer? I can't even imagine. I mean, I guess it's part of driving thousands and thousands of miles. You run into problems and your odds of something bad happening increase. We were paying attention. We dodged the moose. We are alive. Only one stayed in. There's no driving problems allowed. No accidents. Cars, trucks out there. Clear the road. We have to ask for a police escort or something. Oh, heart palpitations. We are alive. I'm going to keep going. Driving to Bethlehem. We should get in at 2:30 or 3 in the morning. And we're going to chill in Pennsylvania for a bit and get well rested and dodge huge deer or moose. I've never run into one, and I did not want to start today. Super late checking into Fairfield room 215, Allentown, Bethlehem, near the airport. Let's see what this room looks like. Our standard hotel room. The heat is on, which is great. Little foyer bathroom and a bathroom. So your standard hotel room for the night. And we'll head to sleep. At the end of each video, I'll include a P&L of how I'm doing on the trip. Check that out. Now let's talk to Mike Baldwin, professional comedian and car deer hitting expert. Joined by Mike Baldwin. Mike, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm glad that I wrecked my car, so that caused you to reach out to me.
Oh, sorry about that. And you're taking your car to get in fixed now?
I took it in this morning, yeah, to the collision place, and they're gonna let me know whether it's totaled or not.
Oh, so what happened with this deer?
It just there was no deer 1 second, and the next second there was a deer 5 feet in front of my car. I had enough time to go no, and that was about it. I just slammed right into it. My big fear with hitting a deer is that antlers will come through the windshield and stab my face or something. And luckily that didn't happen. But yeah, it's if it's not totaled, it's like as close to being totaled that a car can be without technically being totaled. It's going to be like, I don't know, 7 or 8 grand worth of work to just make it like look normal again. And that's not even counting what they might have to do, with the frame and all these car things that I don't understand. But I know the guy when I took it to the place, the guy like grabbed a little rubber piece and like pulled it out easily, and he was like, "That's your motor mount right there. You don't want to go too far without that." And I was like, "I don't know. I drove it to the collision place, so it got me there."
So that was one of my questions. Was this at night or during the day or?
It was at night. It was like I was driving home from Nebraska back to Wichita, Kansas. So it's like a 4 hour drive. And every time I go on the road somewhere, I always have the like debate with myself of like, all right, do I stay the night and get up and leave early in the morning, or do I just go ahead and hit the road? Like if I just left now, I'll be in my bed by 2 a.m. Like, I might as well just leave now. And I was actually messaging with somebody else that was like, you better be careful. It's deer season. And I was like, I drive all the time. I know what I'm doing out there. So, yeah. And then I messaged her immediately and was like, well, thanks for that. I blame you. You jinxed me.
And now you talk about driving at night. Before we talk a little bit more about this, um, I assume you were driving for a comedy show. Can you tell people a little bit about your comedy and how they can find out more about it and what you do?
Well, you can go to mikeisfunny.com and find all the links to everything. And I have my comedy special is, it's on YouTube, but it's like embedded at the top of my website. So you can go there, watch an hour of me being funny, for free if you want. But yeah, I did a comedy show at a brewery in, Lincoln, Nebraska. So I was standing in front of a bunch of kegs, and we had a good crowd, and it was a fun little night. But it was just a bar show, a few $100, just a way to make a little bit of extra money on a week that I didn't have any other work. And yeah, so I definitely did not come out ahead on that. Well, I take that back because we'll just have to see what the insurance says, because I might end up being better off than I was before I started. It just depends on what Progressive decides to do.
Good luck in those progressive conversations. Now, I've not hit a deer before. Have you hit a deer before?
Yeah, this is my third deer that I've hit in my life. The first one was fine. I was probably going 45 when I saw it. Oh, hang on a second. My grandma's calling. She's 93. I have to answer it. Hold on.
No worries.
Hello. Hey, how's it going? Hey, I'm talking to the insurance guy right now, so let me call you back here in a bit. Bye bye. All right, cool. Yeah, I could have explained what I was really doing, but she would have been like, podcast, what?
There we go.
So it was just easier to say what I said. Anyway, uh, what were we talking about? Oh yeah,
So number of deer hits, yeah.
the first time I was in my 1986 Ford Ranger, so it had like a solid steel grill on the front, and I was going like 45, and a deer just casually walked out and I slammed on the brakes, and I was probably going 30 when I hit it, and I just hit it perfectly in the center, and it just knocked it down in the street, and it got up and like looked at me like, dude, and then just like walked back off, and I had no problems at all. And then the second time, then yeah, one like darted out, it knocked off my driver's side mirror and dented up a little bit of stuff, but I didn't fix any of it. I just kept driving it for another couple of years. And then this one was, yeah, either totaled or super close to being totaled.
And car stops running after this hit? Like, I assume it's just like a huge accident, or no?
No, that's what I was waiting on. Like once I hit it, I kept like coasting. I didn't press on the gas or anything, and I was waiting to hear like a tire go zoop, 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 or like see smoke coming out from the hood or something like that. And so then I pressed on the gas a little bit. I kind of felt the steering wheel, and everything was fine. I had like 40 miles to go, and I just drove the rest of the way home.
Well, I am doing a poker cannonball run, which means that I am starting in New York City. I'm a big poker player and planning to drive across the country from New York to California, and I have to cash in poker tournaments along the way. So it's going to be a lot of driving. As I do all this driving, do you have any advice other than avoid deer?
I mean, you can't purposely avoid deer. I guess if you see one on the side of the road, then yeah, slow down a little or whatever. But no, I mean, most accidents are like that, where it's like, dude, there was nothing I could do. But you just got to go with statistics. Statistically, you'll be fine, and nothing will run out in front of your car, and everything will be safe and enjoyable. But I don't know what advice I could give other than, just set up your playlist or whatever before you take off, like, and I have my phone has a little magnet thing on the back, and I magnet it up to the dashboard, so it's right next to the radio and clock and all that stuff. So in my mind, I'm like, no, I'm just looking at it as long as I would look at what radio station I'm on. I'm not like holding it down here like this or anything. So just little stuff like that. Anything you can do to like not take your eyes off the road. But still, I mean, in my situation, I was looking directly at the road, and I was doing this scanning and everything. That's what I do when I drive. I just scan, like hoping that nothing's going to jump out. I mean, it just appeared.
Well, the reason I reached out was I had a near miss sort of as I was driving in New York State. And similar to you, and I feel like there's sometimes where you're going to take a phone call or you're not paying as much attention to the road as you should. I'm driving along in the right lane, just going straight in New York State. I feel like I'm focused on the road, and all of a sudden there is a giant face smack in the middle of the road looking at me. And I'm like, what is this? And I'm driving like 65 miles an hour at night in New York State, and I guess I had enough time to just shift to the left lane, and I knew no one was in the left lane, and somehow maintain control of the car. But it did, the back tires did skid out, and I dodged this giant deer.
Wow.
And so I was like, just what is this face doing in the middle of the road, in the middle, like that's just not normal. And then I called my daughter afterwards and said, I just ran into this giant deer and just dodged it. And she said, well, how tall was it? And she said, Dad, this was not a deer. That was a moose just standing in the middle of the road. And like literally, if I had not been able to shift lanes, this moose was smack in the middle of the road, not moving, in the middle of my lane, and like I might have been hurt. This wouldn't have been a glancing blow. Like this moose was no joke. And so
how do you not? How do you see a moose and think deer?
Again, there was just too much going on. All I saw was this giant face looking at me. Like we made eye contact. This moose and we saw eye to eye, and I'm driving along at 65 miles an hour with my low beams on. It's not even my high beams, and somehow I go left and right. But somehow we spared the moose's life that day. Although he's smack in the middle of the road, who knows if someone else hit him after me.
Yeah, a lot of times you'll see, especially if it's a little more light outside, you'll see after you pass a deer that then they'll dart off into the woods. So to them, they're just having a normal casual day, and they're like, what in the hell was that? Like you would think they would pass information on to their children and be like, avoid anything, like avoid the concrete. But
If
yeah,
you're
I
standing on asphalt, it's bad. Yeah, exactly.
right. I saw some is it moose? Still that's the plural. I saw some moose when I was in Arizona a few months ago and uh just driving on the highway going I think we were in like a 50-55 zone and all of a sudden there's 100 cars stopped in front of me and probably 15 moose, all different sizes, male, female, kids, just doing their own thing and just all traffic on both sides just stopped to I mean watch but also to just not crash into these things and we just had to let them all casually walk away into the woods and it was neat though. I got some cool pictures and videos and stuff, but still I mean that's scary, dude.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was scary switching lanes and almost crashing just from trying to avoid it. But then
Yeah.
also, after sort of hearing the stories, it seems like it was better to avoid than, or take the chance to avoid than smack into it. So,
Oh yeah, because the moose are taller than deer, so I mean, if you hit it right, you'll just knocking its legs out from under it, and then its whole body is just smashing into your windshield.
and your worst fear perhaps coming to a reality.
Yeah, well, I'd rather have moose antlers go into my face than deer antlers. I feel like moose are more blunt, deer are like stabby points.
Fair
Either
enough.
way, avoid animals.
Avoid animals, yeah.
Just be safe.
Well, that was why I wanted to check in. So sorry about your car situation. We'll cross our fingers that either Progressive works out or that the assessment of the car works out.
It'll all work. Everything always works out. That's how I look at any terrible situation. I'm like, this will lead to something that it would not have happened if this terrible thing didn't happen. So
Well, we enjoyed chatting with you. Thank you so much. So it's mikeisfunny.com.
correct. Yep. My name's Mike Baldwin, like Alec Baldwin, except it's Mike.
Very good. Well, Mike, I follow you online. I think I connected with you through a mutual friend, Tina Smithers,
Oh,
and
nice.
so
Yeah,
Tina's one of my
good.
good friends from New York. So
Oh, cool. Me too. Well, not from New York. She's one of my good friends from Missouri. We uh, were high school friends and whatnot, and we've stayed friends this whole time. There's very few like her. But yeah, good luck. I play some poker occasionally when I have extra money, and yeah, it's fun, and it's one of those that it's really easy to be like, I'm pretty good at this. And that's like all the people that you're playing against are people that are like, I got this figured out. So it's always heartbreaking when you're like, what? No, there was only one possible thing he could do to beat me, and he did that thing. What are the odds?
that is my sort of gambling philosophy, which is, obviously the casino always wins. So don't play games where you're up against the casino. But if I can play against other people who don't study poker as much as I do, then I can have at least some sort of edge as I go to gamble.
Yeah, but it's still, I mean, it comes down to the randomness of cards, you know. I mean, you're like, dude, 95% chance I got this in the bag unless he gets this one particular card. Ah, damn it, he got it. Yeah, that's what happens to me a lot playing poker. That's why I don't I'd rather invest my career into comedy than poker. I'm not good enough to make that like pay my bills and whatnot. But if
Yes.
you are, then good. Good for
I don't know if
you.
I am that either, but it at least is a profitable side hobby, but barely profitable. So it's sort of a combination of fun and mild profit. So it
All
works.
right. And all it takes is one good night to be like, "Man, I am way ahead now."
Well, people are always like, what's your biggest win? There's this website that tracks all my winnings that I've ever made. And the beauty of that is they don't report how much you invested. So it just
Ah.
shows the winnings. It doesn't show the amount spent. So I've won tens and tens and thousands of dollars, and we'll leave out how much I spent.
Yeah, no, my mom used to go to play like penny slots and stuff like that at the casino, and every once in a while she'd be like, "I won $1,000," and my dad would go, "Yeah, but how much did that cost?" And she would go, "Oh, shut your mouth." But so yeah, I mean, I assume she put 800 into the machine before she hit big, and then out of that 1,000, she probably put another 300 or 400 back in after winning. But still, whatever. It's gambling. It's fun.
Yeah, it makes us smile, so it all works. Well, Mike, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me. Good luck on your big trip.
Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Let's close with the P&L tracker. This time, showing tournament winnings. Let's go. Please like, comment, subscribe. Truly appreciate it. And next episode, Pennsylvania.